Hey, Tywars 47 here, and I'm gonna try a new video thing. It's also gonna be about gaming, but I'm gonna talk about ideas that I have for the next game to possibly come out in a series, or what I personally want. And y'all can let me know if this is a good video or not in the comments below. And with WWE 2K20 coming out and it being a total flop, I like to play story games and things of that nature. Um, in my spare time, whenever they come out. But the games I mostly play in my spare time would be WWE 2K19 because I liked wrestling when I was a kid. I don't really watch the real thing, but I'll play the video game. And then I liked EA UFC 3. I play that all the time, have a bunch of career modes. And I was thinking about ideas for EA UFC 4, right? How to make that game better. And the first thing I'd like to comment on is that the claim to fame for EA UFC 3 is the stand up that they have. They have really good stand up. The movement's really good. I don't really have anything to add to that other than parrying, being able to parry punches, like in EA Sports MMA, the first game that they did. You were able to parry punches that your opponent threw at you. I feel like that would be good to be able to parry punches and then counter strike. That would be a good idea for the stand up, but for the most part, the stand up's probably the best part of the game. Even whenever I make grapplers, of course, that's my favorite part is the grappling. Whenever I play online, that's how I beat people. It's normally by unanimous decision or split decision. I'm a boring fighter. Boring fighter. Take people down and then try to ground and pound them. That's what I did because people like stand up. So it's like I'll use the grappling. I like grappling in real life. So that's so I use grappling in the video game, and that's how I became that's the only way I'd win championships is like via split decision. For some reason the referees loved me. I was the king of split decisions. But yeah, so the stand up going into EA UFC 4, you can pretty much just don't take anything away from EA UFC 3 stand up. You can put it into EA UFC 4 and then that'll be fine. And then add parrying. The other things that the game falters in is the grappling, right? EA UFC 3 faltered in grappling. It faltered big time in EA UFC, and then EA UFC 2 was dramatic improvements. And then EA UFC 3 was around probably about the same, maybe a little bit better, but the submissions, you can't submit regular players that well, even with the stamina all the way down. It's a hard time doing it. So I like the ability, but in EA UFC 2, I could catch people. If people weren't paying attention to their stamina, my favorite thing would be, okay, either they could take me down or I take them down. We play the transition game, and then whenever their stamina gets down, I go for the submission, and then they would like rage quit, and then I'd get a TKO victory because they quit when it registered as a submission. That's what I'd like to see in EA UFC 4 is the fact that you'd be able to submit people a lot easier if you want to specialize in submissions and grappling. To be able to make it where your character, like the floor is lava, kind of like Damian Maya, the floor is lava, and you can submit people if you so choose to. You can tap them out. And so that's what I'd like to be able to see. I'd also like to be able to see smoother transitions. No more UFC fighters not being able to do certain moves. They should all have submissions from guard, full mount, side control, and half guard. You ain't gonna make it to the UFC and not know how to do a Kimura from half guard, okay? They should all have those basic moves. Every single one of them. You ain't gonna make it to the UFC without knowing what a stinking Kimura is. You're not. And it irritates me that some fighters can't do things. Everybody should be able to do a sweep from bottom mount. Okay? Be able to catch the arm, trap the leg, and bridge and roll them over. Okay? Every fighter knows how to do that. Okay? Those things should all be in fighters' arsenals. And that's another thing I'd like to bring up. Moving into career mode is that I think it's ridiculous that your fighter can be in the UFC and not know how to do a triangle choke. It's like you're not going to not know how to do a triangle choke inside of the UFC, okay? It's not possible. You're not going to do it. So, my recommendation is, A, to also make the career mode more interesting. They had the WFA World World Fighting Association. That was it, right? WFA. Anyway, they had a little promotion that you had 3 fights in. You generally won those fights, and even if you lost one, you still make it to the UFC pretty easily. I've only ever been to the Ultimate Fighter one time, which is a good idea. Ultimate Fighter making it through there, right? 3 fights. Dana White comes looking for a fight. Either if you finish the dude, you pretty much get put to the UFC. If you don't do that well, then you get put into the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, I've never had a situation, even playing the hardest difficulty, where I didn't make it to the UFC within those 3 fights. So, what I'd like to suggest, and then your character's so basic. He is so basic in the UFC. So what I'd like to suggest is that other groups or other organizations, they make up organizations that you have to fight through to get up to the main one, the UFC, right? That's the flagship promotion, especially in the game. So you can work your way up to the UFC, but these people aren't coming in 4-0 unless you're a celebrity, right? So, in most cases, unless you're a celebrity, you ain't coming into the UFC green, not knowing how to do a triangle choke. Let your dude work on his stats, learn basic moves, make money, all that stuff, moving up the ranks. Become a world champion in smaller things. Pull a Ben Askren, become popular in, a foreign promotion or something like that. Make up a foreign promotion, have him become popular, come over, and, wreck it in the UFC and get a title fight within 3 fights. Have, a momentum meter, right? You ain't gonna go, win 20 fights in a row, right? And have high-profile fights, right? High-profile fights, high-hype fights, and then not get a title shot within 20 fights. Okay, that's not gonna happen. If you're getting high-hype fights, really high-hype fights, or medium-high fights consistently, and you're winning fights, you probably would have had 3 title shots by then. Okay? So we don't need that. That's unrealistic, and it's kind of monotonous. So your fighters should be more advanced when they get to the UFC. They should have maybe a following behind them, maybe not, maybe start from the undercard up, or be a champion with a following, and then go on to the UFC and pull a Ben Askren, or a, the light one, Justin Gaethje. There's such advanced mechanics in games nowadays. There's no sense in that not to happen. Especially look at EA UFC, probably the best MMA game to ever be released. Strikeforce, you moved up. You became champion, and then you went on to different promotions, eventually ending up in Japan or in Strikeforce and defending your title. You moved up through the ranks before making it to the major promotions. And that's how it should be in the UFC too. You're not going to go to the UFC and not know how to do a Kimura from half guard or a triangle choke. Or a head arm triangle choke. You're not going to be able to do it, okay? You're just not. So, I'd like that, to be able to advance skills, make the story longer, more fun, to go through smaller promotions, making your way up to eventually the UFC, and then hopefully becoming champion, right? Keep the hype meter, right? Keep a momentum meter. If your momentum's hot, get title shots quicker. Press conferences, play press conferences, make rivalries, right? Be able to throw cheap shots at people or talk crap on Twitter. That he had that somewhat. And then press conferences. Of course, they teased it, but then they didn't really give it to us. They didn't really give press conferences to us. Do it. Give us press conferences. Give us post-fight speeches, right? Give us rivalries, okay? Not just, the end of your contract's a rival. No, get, UFC Undisputed 3, something like that, depending on how you were on your post-fight speeches, how humble you were, and how you dealt with other fighters. You had a relationship with them, how much animosity they had towards you. They either liked you, they didn't like you. Bring that back. Bring that back to career mode. Give us press conferences. Give us post-fight speeches. Training. Have us actually train like in EA MMA. Have us actually train it. Do the exercises. Not EA MMA, EA Sports MMA. Do the actual training exercises. Try to get your grade or whatever. Do really well, then poor, you know. Pretty much teaching them combinations throughout the game, how to play the game. And then when they get a good score, if they don't want to do it again, just let them simulate it. Do that again. You know, make training more interesting. Make promotions more interesting. Make career mode better. That's really the things that have been lacking in career mode is really things to do. Training is just click. Promoting yourself is just working the menu. It's just working the menu, getting your fitness level up. Keep injuries. Obviously, keep injuries. Keep short notice fights. We don't get enough of those. But, you know, I know the whole not having time to train thing's kind of aggravating. You get bonus deducted off that. But any which way, keep that in there. Keep the injuries. Keep the injury system. And then Ultimate Fight Teams, the next thing that needs to be worked on. I am not a big fan of the way that they have the loot or the packs and stuff like that. This is my suggestion. Ultimate Fight Team, I like the way that you fight. Well, actually, I didn't play Ultimate Fight Team on EA UFC 3. I did on EA UFC 2, but EA UFC 3, I didn't even bother with it because of the packages and stuff. Like, you only gotten certain fighters that we give you, plus you get one created fighter. It's like, no, let us make our created fighters. Don't do packages or the cards anymore, okay? Let's create our fighters and then let us mold them to the style that we want them to have. You want a grappler? Do that. Depending on your fights, you get so many points, and then those points you can spend on training to get submissions, stuff like that. Take the randomness out of it. Because you're getting packs and stuff like that from winning fights anyway, so just take the randomness out of it and let us sculpt the fighter that we want. Keep the momentum. If you lose, your momentum goes back a little bit. If you win, momentum goes forward. Then it keeps going forward, and eventually you get the title shot. If you lose the title, it goes down. If you win the title, then you gotta defend it. I like that, but I do not like the packs, the card packs that you have to do. Because I could want a grappler, but then have no submissions for my takedown guy, right? I could end up with like stupid spinning kicks and things like that. And I don't want to play that way. So, it's like, let us get experience points off of our fights and then spend those experience points on the attributes and the move skill set that we want, okay? None of that greedy stuff. It's no better than loot boxes or anything like that. No more of that. Now we're talking about EA, and that's most likely not going to happen. But I would like that to happen, is to get rid of the packs, the booster packs or whatever. Let us get the spend experience points on the attributes and the package and the moves that we want. Okay, no more packages. And keep the grappling, right? Make grappling, and work on the grappling. I think that's one of the major shortfalls, other than the career mode and all that, is the grappling. I'd like to see the grappling really improved. Grappling on the cage, right? Not just the clinch, but like them tying up their legs and hitting them on bottom, right? There's a lot of mechanics that could go into it that I feel like it's kind of been ignored, or they just don't know how to do it. I know grappling can be hard to do. Well, I think that grappling can be hard to do, but I'd like to see more out of them, pretty much. I'd like to see more. I'd like to see some of the dirty practices gone. I'd like to see a whole lot more out of career mode. Okay? I'd like to be able to see our fighters promote themselves, us be in control of that, if they're egotistical or not, the training, just a whole lot more to do. Career mode, I'd like to see the greediness out of Ultimate Fight Team, where we have control over our fighters and we're not just stuck with one created fighter. That, if I remember correctly, I don't know if we even got to control what weight class they're in. So it's like, let us control that stuff with our fighters, how they fight, like the moves and things like that nature. And I think if they do that, EA UFC 4 will be a much better game. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you have any suggestions or thoughts to add, or if you like this type of video, go ahead and put it in the comments below. If you want more of my content, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I will see you later. Goodbye. Have a nice day.